Talk TV. Today we've got Mukha Kumar from Pubmatic. Mukha, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Mukha is the head of engineering at Pubmatic, and today it'll be interesting to get an overview of how, or in the weeds of overview of how SSPs are dealing with multi-bidders, independent bidders in the space. So Mukha, just give us a quick sort of a synopsis of what you do at Pubmatic, and then we'll just get onto the whiteboard.
Sure. Thanks. So I'm the head of the engineering at Pubmatic. I'm also the co-founder at Pubmatic. So have been with Pubmatic about 6.5 years since the beginning, and have been building the product and the team. So it's been a great journey with Pubmatic. Building technology and pioneering in a number of different areas, in different areas in mobile or unified optimization and so on and so forth. So that's what I do. I manage the team and also manage the innovation at Pubmatic across our offices.
Okay, so it's great to have an engineering guy here today. So let's get into the weeds. Obviously, there's a lot of independent bidders that are buying from your platform. I'm just wondering how you predict the buying patterns of those particular independent bidders, and how sort of you ensure the publisher gets the best price, considering that all these independent bidders are trying to force the price to get the lowest price possible. Could you just map that out for us?
Sure. So Pubmatic has impressions coming in from various different sources, and we have a number of DSPs that are linked to us. So we have, if you think about Pubmatic as a platform, we have impressions coming on from different kinds of platforms, different kinds of publishers and sources, right? We also have API integrations into different publishers and impressions coming in from these sources. And then we have integrations into different DSPs and demand platforms. So what happens in these in this specific area is that we have data and we have parameters coming in from these publishers and these platforms. So for example, to give you an example, the most used parameter is the geo, the location of the users. And with mobile, this number of parameters has kind of exploded, 10x. With things such as latitude, longitude, the type of the device, the OS, and so on and so forth. All that is used to send to the DSP so that they can bid on the impression. And along with that, we also have audience data such as the demographic data, if that is available, and the DSP uses that. Now what we do is that once the DSPs start to bid for the impressions, we have the richest source of data because we are integrated with close to 80 different DSPs. 80.
Wow.
Yeah. And we are getting the bids from them, on our platform. With billions of bids going out, and then the DSP is bidding or not bidding, and the amount of dollars or that they are paying for the bid, and along with that we have all the data that we are sending. So the data, let's look at some of the data: the geo, the time of the day, right? The audience data, right? The audience data could be the demographic, the gender, the age, potentially the income group of the user, to things such as contextual data, right? Contextual data is the data about the page, and so probably 24 different sets of data. Now what we do is that we look at the historical price of the bids, and we map against these parameters, and then we find out the kind of affinity or the pattern of how the DSP is bidding with respect to these. So those give a lot of times we give very clear indicators. I mean, if you don't have anything, this gives extremely deep insights into the buying patterns of DSPs.
So you can use this information to model what these bidders have been doing. So you obviously have to be working with these guys for a number, a number of months or
Absolutely.
to kind of figure out what the buying pattern is.
Yes, and it gives a lot of insights. Like for example, how a DSP looks at a user or a cookie or many of the DSPs, they would like to see the user return in 7 days. Within 7 days, many of the DSPs would like the user to return 2 times in a month.
Yeah.
Only then they start valuing, and then I mean the way they value is pretty substantial. That if the guy comes back in 7 days, then the CPM shoots up.
Yeah.
If the guy comes 2 times in 30 days, then the CPM again shoots
Yeah.
up. And so it doesn't matter that much that you have a cookie and you have a user that you have seen, but also that the user should come back to the site after X number of days, and that X number of days is variable.
Yeah.
Each DSP treats it differently. So there's there's if it is turn versus Dotemu versus Datadog versus X+1 or some other. So how this works is very differently, and I mean I think definitely it's a science, and although I mean we cannot find out everything. I mean there is like engineers, hundreds of thousands of engineers working behind these algorithms, but I think since PubMatic is in the center with working with hundreds of publishers and so many DSPs, we have the richest set of data to really predict this.
And can you regionalize that? So like obviously Torrent have many customers globally. They've got customers in the US,
Yeah.
and Europe, and APAC.
Yeah.
So do you kind of regionalize that? I mean, obviously you've got customers all globally as well. I mean, how do you factor that into the predictive modeling?
Yes, so I think, like I said, geo is probably the most important factor that affects the modeling or
Yeah.
the CPMs.
Yeah.
So that's the number one factor. We definitely divide between different continents. The US versus the Europe versus Asia, and then we go to the extent to a lot of times to the DMA level, to the zip code level.
Yeah.
To determine this factor. And this is probably geo is the most I could very well say that it's at least 40 to 50% of the modeling weightage goes to the geo, and after that it could be other things like time of the day, the site,
Yeah.
the section, and the demography, the gender or things like that also affect a lot.
So you've got a big product in mobile. You've got a product in display.
Yeah.
And now you're obviously moving into mobile as well.
Yes.
Is there big differences between your predictive modeling in display versus mobile?
Yes, so it's not fundamentally different. I mean, PubMatic is in a unique position that we work with different platforms, and we are a single platform that can work with different kind of devices, mobile or tablet or desktop. So it's not fundamentally different. Only that the number of parameters that a mobile is able to offer explodes like 10x.
Yeah.
So you get the lat long information, you get the device information. There's like literally tens of thousands of different devices with different capabilities.
Is it more complex given how?
It is definitely lot. I mean, there's like the amount of data.
Yeah.
Probably has gone up 100x.
Yeah.
So the amount of permutations and combinations, basically the number of combinations that you can run is a lot. And mobile is used in a very different way compared to, let's say, your laptop. Mobile is a very personal device, so you carry it all the time, and you have information. You enter information about where you are going, and your patterns about how you are spending your time, how you are holidaying, and so there are things such as let's say mobile can find out whether you are running. So they have pedometers. So whether you're running, how fast you're running, and things like that, and whether you're lying down on a beach surfing the web using your iPhone.
Yeah.
So they can tell whether you're whether it's being seen as a flat device where you're lying down and seeing, and then they can target based on that. So all that data can now be used for the predictive modeling.
Do you think the fact there's more data points in mobile will allow you to get better pricing for your publishers, in fairness? Does that matter at all?
Yeah, I mean, we think so, although right now I believe the market is very young, very new. So basically, there is definitely a lot of inventory coming in. I mean, people are moving into mobile, impressions are moving into mobile extremely fast, like literally, at a 10% or 15% additional points every quarter or something like that, or 6 or 7%. But basically impressions have been moving into mobile very fast, and things are changing so fast that there are a lot of market movements in terms of new DSPs coming in, new advertisers. But we believe that once this stabilizes, in terms of the CPM stabilize and the number of, there's definitely going to be some consolidation in terms of, there's so many DSPs.
So many.
Yeah, so there's definitely going to be some consolidation. So we believe that, this predictive modeling is definitely going to be extremely useful.
But do you think consolidation in the space would make it easier for you to do predictive modeling on behalf of publishers? Or would it make any difference at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think it will make a difference. It will definitely help us. However, given the way we function right now, I mean, we have so many DSPs that we are integrated with, and so many publishers that we are very well positioned to actually do it today.
Yeah.
Whether a consolidation happens or not, and then across different devices like tablets or different OSs like Android, iOS.
Yeah, and one last question: in terms
Sure.
of sort of people integrate with you, do you have to factor that in when you integrate with somebody on your platform? So we need to predict the model yours and DSP before they can integrate. How does that process work?
Not before they integrate. So the model is now so well defined. I mean, we have been doing RTB for 3.5 years, right? So now the APIs and the data transfer, the modeling is so well defined that it's not a whole lot of new stuff that needs to be done. However, things definitely keep on getting interesting because you have PMP, private marketplaces, and then you have multi-bid, which is recently introduced. So I would say every quarter or quarter and a half, there is some new fundamental innovation that happens, and that kind of makes it more complex. So multi-bid will definitely make it more complex.
Well, make it far more complex.
Far more
Instead of
complex.
seeing one bid from a DSP, you're going to see
Absolutely.
maybe 5-10 bids.
Absolutely.
Right.
And
Okay.
then and then the DSP is the same. So there will be certain things that will be the same, certain factors that will stay the same within one set of bids. But then so every, I would say, quarter or quarter and a half, there is a new technology breakthrough that happens. So that further
you busy.
complicates. That makes us
Keeps you busy,
extremely
Mark.
busy.
Look,
Absolutely.
thanks very much for coming in and explaining the process,
Sure.
getting in the weeds, and look forward to seeing more innovation from
Absolutely.
India. India,
Absolutely.
the hub of ad tech innovation, clearly.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
And that was Trader Talk TV. See you next time.